Welcome back to this week's edition of the Risk Spotlight Operational Risk News Update. My name is Emily Jones, and today I'll be bringing you essential updates and insights from the world of operational risk, drawn from the past week. All information shared here is sourced from the Risk Spotlight portal, the premier forward-looking service dedicated to operational risk content. Let's get started. The first update is about the European Union ratification of a groundbreaking legislation called the EU Artificial Intelligence Act, which aims to regulate the development and deployment of AI systems globally. This comprehensive 420-page act categorizes AI systems into high risk and low risk, and even bans certain types of AI that contradict EU values like human dignity, freedom, and equality. The EU has established an AI office to oversee implementation and enforcement, with the power to evaluate and regulate general-purpose AI models. Penalties for non-compliance can reach up to 6% of a company's global annual turnover, or 30 million euros, whichever is higher. This legislation sets a potential global benchmark for AI regulation, although its complexity may pose challenges for stakeholders. The next update is related to a report titled Greenwashing Monitoring and Supervision, published by the European Banking Authority. The quantitative analysis of the greenwashing phenomenon in the EU shows a clear increase in the total number of potential cases of greenwashing across all sectors, including EU banks from 2012 to 2023. The total number of alleged cases continued to increase in 2023, plus 21.1% in all regions and plus 26.1% in the EU compared to 2022. Greenwashing controversies remain amplified towards EU financial and banking institutions. The report recommends that at the entity level, institutions should substantiate forward-looking sustainability commitments such as net zero pledges with credible plans and strategies, provide clear and granular information on their green and sustainable finance targets, and integrate greenwashing-related financial risks as part of their management of conduct, operational, and reputational risks. The next update is about the 21st Century Peace Through Strength Act, signed into law by President Biden on April 24, 2024. This act has expanded the reach of U.S. sanctions and doubled the statute of limitations for sanctions violations. The statute of limitations for violations under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEPA, and the Trading with the Enemy Act, TWA, has been extended from 5 years to 10 years. This change applies not only to new violations, but also to any existing violations where the previous 5-year statute of limitations had not yet expired. The extended statute of limitations is a significant development that will impact how companies assess and manage their sanctions exposure. It may also influence decisions around voluntary self-disclosure of violations to the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, especially considering the strengthened whistleblower protections and financial incentives introduced by the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2020. Additionally, the Act requires the President to identify foreign persons subject to EU or UK sanctions on Russia who meet the criteria for US sanctions but haven't been sanctioned yet. The next update is about the FBI obtaining over 7,000 decryption keys from the notorious Lockbit ransomware group, and is encouraging corporate victims to come forward to see if these keys can unlock their encrypted data. This is a significant development, as Lockbit was recently the world's largest ransomware attack group, and many victims may have paid ransoms but received keys that didn't fully decrypt their files due to attacker incompetence. The FBI's Brian Vorndran stated that almost all sophisticated ransomware developers operate as organized crime syndicates from Russian-speaking countries. They have successfully lowered the barriers to entry through a ransomware-as-a-service model, allowing less technically skilled criminals to deploy advanced malware for a percentage of the proceeds, typically around 20% for Lockbit. This group even offers discounts for high-volume customers. Vorndran also mentioned that ransomware attacks are often coupled with data theft, known as double extortion, or data theft and harassment of victims and company officials, called triple extortion. The FBI's acquisition of these decryption keys provides a concrete reason for CISOs to establish direct contacts with the FBI, as having a personal relationship with a cyber agent can be invaluable during an incident response. The next update is on a new report released by Mandiant providing an overview of the ransomware landscape in 2023, highlighting the surge in attacks and the strategies employed by ransomware groups. There was a moderate increase of over 20% in the number of ransomware intrusions they investigated from 2022 to 2023. Alarmingly, the number of victims being posted to public-facing data leak sites grew by a staggering 75%, encompassing organizations of all sizes and sectors across 130 countries. In fact, a record-breaking 1,300 organizations were listed as victims in the third quarter of last year alone. Notably, the known ransomware profits reached a record high of $1.1 billion in 2023, according to blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis. However, the percentage of victims paying ransoms declined, with an average of 37% paying throughout the year and only 29% in the final months. The next update is on a new report by KnowBe4, which highlighted that organizations that committed to regular security awareness training and testing saw their phish-prone percentage drop from an initial 34% to just 5% after a year of continuous training and testing. That's a massive reduction in vulnerability to phishing attacks, which are a major source of cybersecurity breaches. The report also found that without proper training, more than a third, 34% of employees are likely to click on malicious links or comply with fraudulent requests. This highlights the critical role that human error plays in cybersecurity and why training employees to recognize and avoid these threats is so crucial. The next update highlights results from a recent research conducted by Security Scorecard. It highlighted a concerning trend among the FTSE 100 companies in Britain. A staggering 97 out of these 100 firms experienced a third-party supply chain data breach between March 2023 and March 2024. This highlights the vulnerability of even the most prominent organizations to cyber threats originating from their supply chain partners. While these companies have been successful in securing their own premises, with only 12% reporting a breach in the previous year, cybercriminals have turned their attention to exploiting the systems of third-party technology or service providers as an entry point. Security Scorecard emphasizes that a company's cybersecurity resilience is directly linked to the security of its smallest suppliers, making third-party risk management a crucial aspect of any robust cybersecurity program. The findings also provides insights into the cybersecurity posture of UK companies compared to their European counterparts. For instance, 76% of UK organizations with the top A grade had not experienced a breach in the past year, compared to lower percentages in France, 60%, Italy, 59%, and Germany, 66%. The energy and basic materials sector emerged as the most secure in the UK, while the communications sector requires significant improvement, with 70% of organizations receiving a C grade or lower. The last update is about Vermont in U.S. becoming the first state to enact a law requiring fossil fuel companies to pay for climate change damage. This move comes after the state experienced catastrophic summer flooding and other extreme weather events. The law mandates that the state treasurer, in consultation with the Agency of Natural Resources, provide a report by January 15, 2026, on the total cost to Vermonters and the state from the emission of greenhouse gases from January 1, 1995 to December 31, 2024. This law could set a precedent for other states and countries to follow. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour of last week's operational risk landscape. If you want to read more about the topics I have covered and review additional content on emerging operational risk topics, then please log into the RiskSpotlight portal if you are a subscriber, or go to RiskSpotlight.com to sign up for a free trial. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe and keep those risks in check.